Hello there, Soaring Eagle fans! Thanks for another video here in this segment of video. What I'm going to do is patch together about 2 years of still pictures, some videos on a trailer build that I did in 23, 24, and even parts into 25, adding different components. And first section of this video, just going to show we ended up purchasing a trailer from Cummings Trailer Supplies in Abbotsford. Great place to deal with, great selection. So we ordered one from the factory with a couple of items that we wanted in our RV build, as the back door, or we didn't want a full cargo door, so we just wanted your typical RV door at the back, and same with on the side, the front. So we had that installed, and then they installed a couple of windows, one on each side, at the factory, and that's how we received the trailer. And so coming up shortly after just browsing through the website at Cummings Trailer Supplies in Abbotsford, be a couple of videos, a couple of quick pictures here, getting our trailer delivered to our place here, and there it is still at the Cummings site, and soon to be hauled home. And that was the start of our journey to converting this into a luxury trailer that we've used now for a year plus. Done a couple of capitalist on it before it was finished, and it's still on ongoing projects. That does it ever end? Anyway, follow us along, and still the pictures will be in still mode, but there will also be a few short video clips. My intentions wasn't originally to be on YouTube. I started the YouTube channel after I did the third building the trailer, and so most of the still shots I took just for being able to look back on the build and seeing where pieces were, etc. So I pieced them all together here in a 1-hour video clip, and hopefully you'll enjoy, and hit the like and subscribe button, share it with other people, and so the trailer that we did end up buying was a 14-foot Tailwind Continental, 7 feet tall, 7'2" thereabouts, and 7 feet wide, 14 feet long. And while we were waiting for the trailer, we actually did a layout of the 7 foot wide with 14 foot on our apartment floor with some tape, trying to figure out where all the different items that we wanted inside the trailer, being the bed, fridge, stove, sink, counter, shower, toilet. There were all pluses that we wanted in there. Definitely wanted a flushing toilet, and we wanted a 32 by 32 shower, and a queen-size bed with cabinets for a sink, fridge, and stove. And we have all that in there, but we leave it out on the floor, just trying to make it practical. This last picture here is a cargo bay area where the bed will rest on top when it's finished, and you'll see as we go along. In this section of the build, we'll be working on the cabinets for the RV. Knowing the size and dimensions of the trailer gave me a practical solution to the size of cabinets that would fit in there, so I started planning for that months before the trailer arrived and started working on it. I'll put the links down below to some of the jigs that I used, some of the pocket hole systems from Craig, and also the system for putting the hinges on were all benefactors. What's it called? A Craig hinge, concealed hinge jig. So there's a number of jigs. So all the cabinets were drilled out and screwed together with glue, so they're going to hold fast in traveling. It won't rattle apart with the hidden screws and also the glue in them. So all these pictures are, again, going to be in still shots because I didn't have a video running, wasn't planning on putting this on YouTube at the time, so there'll just be a lot of different images of the cabinets. that we built. There's 1, 2, 3, 4 overhead cabinets that we built and one stand-up cabinet that would end up holding the air conditioner, the fridge, and there's also quite a big vacant spot down below where you could put an extra cooler storage and stuff in. So as we went along, just was a lot of fun building these cabinets. I've never ever built cabinets before, or doors and hinges, or worked with this. It was the first time ever, but YouTube's a great place to go and source out and get ideas, and Amazon was a great place of sourcing out components for this. Home Depot is where most of the refined lumber came from. They have some good selection on finished material for cabinet building. So I kind of chose to them, and putting some pocket lights underneath the cabinets. 12-volt lights were switching on it, and the hinges are kind of a slow close hinge, and then it claps on, and made the doors, and we put the same kind of paneling inside the doors as the wall material is going to be made of, so that the contrast would be between the wall panel and the cabinet itself. So it worked out really well in this particular project, and there's one of the cabinets in the finish mode ready to be installed when the trailer gets to that point. But these cabinets were made months in advance prior to actually getting it to that stage where we could install them. Here is some shots of some of the tools and equipment being used to put it together. I had an on-site place where I could go out and do all the cutting and finishing and stuff like that, but occasionally, to allow the cabinet to dry properly, because the weather was kind of wet outside, left the inside for drying and didn't want the cabinet's material getting wet. And there's the stand-up cabinet and the actual fridge freezer kind of stuff that would fit into it later. The bottom part of that cabinet is open right now. Here's the scene on site making some of the extra doors and some of the tools that were being used for the project. It'll also be an image coming up shortly here of a number of cabinets on the go, but also a bench full of tools. And if you pause on there, you can kind of have a quick stop and look and review of all the different bits and pieces of tools that I did use for that project. And again, I have to say, I really enjoyed this part. I love working with wood. I'm not a finished carpenter or anything like that, but I thought, hey, if they can do it, I can do it. So I just kept working at it, and there's the pocket hole jig. So one of the simpler ones. I'll leave links down below for all these tools that I got from Amazon for doing this project. I'll leave a link to Cummings trailer place, or there's a table full of tools of quite a few of them that I use on this project, so you can zoom in and have a look at that if something that you'd require for doing a project yourself. And here's the contrast difference between the unfinished and finished material of the door panels. Actually, that's the actual front face of the cabinet. Door panels will come later. There we are. So anyway, with the door panels, again, we inserted the game finishing wall material that the RV walls are going to be made of, put them inside the doors, and it worked out really well. Really enjoyed that design. I used a couple of different options, but ended up sticking with this. And here's some finished door panels, different sizes, and they'll be on standby and be ready to install once the trailer, it's up to that phase, but there's still a lot of work to be done inside the trailer, and there's a finished stain on the cabinets that I ended up using. So you get a little bit of a preview in this next shot here that kind of snuck it in there. Not much of the inside was done, but the cabinets were already hung, but the trailer wasn't at that stage yet, so we'll move on to the next section. Hello, here we are back another day, and in this section of the video, we're going to be removing the inner plywood on the walls that was installed at the factory and put insulation into the metal wall cavity and then frame in a 2x2 stud wall later. But we'll first remove all the plywood. The wood floor stays because it's a good thick floor, but the wall paneling will be removed and set aside. Thankfully, I found a person that could use the panels in some of the construction he was doing, so that worked out great. He picked it up later and moved it off-site, and so then I could continue working on the trailer. And then what we did then is move forward to install 2 cargo bay hatches on the back left and right side. Later on, what I would do is build some boxes inside that would be cargo bay boxes, and the bed would actually lay on top of the boxes from side to side. And so we mount up the panel wall, cut out the metal, and ordered some fiberglass marine grade panels off of Amazon. I'll put links again, like I mentioned before, put links to a lot of this product down below. So we did put a cargo bay door on each side of the trailer, and one side would later house the diesel gas heater, and the other side would have the 3,000 watt inverter and a bunch of electrical gear. The electrical panel and wiring would also be fitted into this, and shortly you'll see a pipe that was installed which would allow the electronic wiring, the conduit, to be transferred from one side of the trailer through a pipe underneath the floor. And I'll have a few images depicting how that was achieved, and I was quite content with how that worked out and appreciated that a lot. So these cargo hatches worked out great. They're waterproof and double locks on them. We'll move along with the project here, and I think in the next section we'll be talking about laying down the floors, or it might be a section on the insulation that you see in some of these pictures already, be the 1 inch styrofoam insulation on the metal wall, and then another 2 inches of styrofoam that was put into the 2x2 walls that was framed into the trailer. In this section, phase 5, we'll be finishing up the 1.5 inch styrofoam insulation into all the wall throughout the RV, front and back. The ceiling actually ends up getting 1.5 inch insulation as well, with a secondary 2 inch thickness of insulation. So it ends up with 3.5 inch of overall insulation in most of the RV. Plus the floor will later be insulated as well from the bottom side. But in this section, the walls are insulated, and then all the cracks and seams are duct taped to make it almost airtight for wind and such. So it'll be a very warm environment in the wintertime. In the future video, we were actually able to go camping in the wintertime with just a small little electric heater to keep it going. Here's a picture of where the secondary wall, the 2x2 stud wall, is put up against the initial fiberglass wall. The metal wall with the fiberglass insulation, and the 2x2 studs will hold another 1.5 inch, close to 2 inch of styrofoam panel as well. And we'll be insulating that at the same time as doing some pre-wiring in it. So I think in the upcoming scene will be some more stud wall and the pre-wiring, or it might even be some of the floor modules. We'll see what the next module is in line here, the next phase of it. But getting this thing fully insulated is a must-need, because we do want to use it a lot for winter camping and use a bare minimum of heat to keep it nice and warm and cozy when we do so. All the holding tanks will also be above floor so that they'll keep from freezing. Another day and back at it here. So in this section of phase 6, we'll be adding some more of the 2x2 secondary wall, and also with the 2-inch styrofoam insulation panels. Now you're going to also see some electrical circuits being installed as we progress along with this, just for ease of it. Some of the photos, you'll see the inside of the trailer in a bit of a messy situation, mostly worked outdoors in a small lot area, and so most of the equipment and tools and parts and material had to keep it inside the trailer, move it out every day for the job, and then move it back in once I was finished, and pretty much do most of the work on nice days, sunny days. Later on, I did have the awning installed, and the awning became quite useful, protect from sudden outbursts of rain, etc. But overall, I had pretty good weather during this project, and the great big square worked really well for cutting the insulation. Now, the secondary wall being 2x2s or 2.5 for 2.5, wherever they are, allowed for, I think it was a 2-inch thickness of styrofoam insulation, and the primary wall that was backed onto the metal main wall was 1.5 inches, so we got like 3.5 inches of insulation. So there you see some electric conduit boxers already installed into the 2x2 framing as well. And then we just proceeded on with adding the rest of the styrofoam that you see stacked up there into all the 2x2 frames. So as summer went along, it also kept the trailer a lot cooler to work in the summertime with the insulation in the walls, because some of the other trailers I've had working in it would get excessively hot without the insulation. Hello there, you all. Hope my Surging Eagle fans are still staying tuned in. I'm quite enjoying going back and reminiscing over the creation of this, our RV project, a DIY trailer build from a cargo trailer. And in this section, we're installing a 3-inch pipe. I think it's about 3-inch pipe. Basically a water pipe. We're going to use it for an electrical conduit to string wires from one side of the trailer to the other side. Now, eventually, those places are going to be inside the cargo boxes, and so they'll be hidden, and the pipe will be underneath the trailer, as you see shortly here. And kind of came up with a solution, just trying to figure out how to get electrical wiring from one side of the trailer to the other side. For whatever reason, I made a pipe big enough so I can run wires through it in the future, and it'll come up inside the cargo boxes, so they're nicely tucked away, but always be open and handy to add another wire or make some changes to it, the stuff. So just a couple scenes, so I just measured everything off and created the right fittings and stuff before I glued it together, and then just stuck it underneath the trailer and kept it up there with a trailer jack as I was installing it, and threaded down the pipe and glued it in place. And I did put a couple little drain holes in the bottom of the pipe, so if water was ever to get in there for whatever reason, that would just drain out onto the ground down below. And there you see the trailer jack just holding up the corner while I'm attaching the pieces from inside and gluing them down. Eventually, this bottom part of the trailer will have about a 3-inch styrofoam on there as well for insulation. We've done that a future date. I'm thinking it's probably a few months after this was done, quite a few months later, but do think I do have some videos or pictures of that as well, so I'll post that in the video that we progress here. But anyway, this option was really handy to get the wiring to go back from one side of the trailer to those 5 for electrical conduit, electrical sockets, and audio, all kinds of devices that need to be installed either right away or in the future. And here's a quick shot of the above floor where they come up, and later on you'll see that there's boxes built over top of it and some of the wiring already being plumbed through. Well, good morning, you all. Here we are, bright and early in the morning, getting going on installing some vinyl flooring. The vinyl flooring that was suggested to me by a gentleman that worked at Pioneer Building Supplies. He'd installed different flooring in RVs before. He said some of it isn't waterproof, some of it cracks, shifts, wear and tear isn't so good, so he highly recommended this particular flooring material that you see that I've got installed here. It gets glued down. Now, in the sheet of paper that I have here, it's called the Smart Drop Elite Fusion, spelt with a Z, Fusion, a luxury vinyl, and it gets glued down. Now, the cost for me back in 2024 in Canada here was a total of $535 for the flooring and a bucket of glue. Now, I did have to go back and get one more box of flooring for another $128, so we're looking at about $650 for the flooring material, but it turned out really nice. It glued down really well. Just did sections of it and laid down some planking and different things on top of it just to keep it secure and in place. And there's no cracks in it. There's no joints to fit into each other, but it just lays down, and it's definitely not going to go anywhere. Now, if you ever want to replace it, of course, it would be kind of hard to tear up off of that plywood. Best thing would be just to put some flooring on top of it. Need to have an extra layer of flooring. But it turned out really well. I'm very happy with it. Like you said, that this trailer was built a year and a half, 2 years ago now, and we've used a number of times, and the flooring has stood up to the test. It's completely waterproof, and with the glue and the seams and stuff, it doesn't really get down to the wood at all, so I'm really pleased with it and how it turned out. Now, the glue that used on there, you can, if you zoom in on the bottle or the canister of it in the picture there, you can see the name of it. It says Roberts 2E350 adhesive, and it worked out really well. And with the doors wide open and stuff, I had good ventilation. For another day, another part of the project, and we're diving deep into putting in the cargo boxes into the trailer. We're getting close to about halfway into the trailer build, taking some time, even though it's just a half an hour on the clock here, but we're probably a good half year into the project at this stage, and just putting together all these pictures and short little videos accumulated over the time. Again, fabricated the size of the boxes and stuff with the layout on the floor that we'd laid out for the 7x14, the footprint, and just transferred that right into the RV or the trailer itself, which eventually did become an RV for us. Very happy with it. And so we have a cargo box on each side, and it also supplements carrying the heater for the diesel heater, and also on the electrical circuit on that side. On the opposite side, there's a big power supply, batteries, and inverter, and all those kind of things, power supply sector, but it also doubles. It holds up a queen-size mattress. We put some pounds of plywood across the two joints you'll see later, and then the mattress on top of that. And as the sleeping platform can be removed, and piece by piece, and then you could put a kitchen table in between the two and use it as a bench seat if you wanted to. We haven't done that as of yet and haven't needed it, but it's definitely an option, or you can take it right out, and that leaves the alleyway wide open just in case you ever needed to even put a motorcycle in the middle there or something, a couple bicycles or whatever, but most of the time we'll carry them in the back of the truck. But we do have that option for doing that, and as you see, there's a lot of wiring in the walls, so as we transitioned along, there's other pieces of project that were being done at the same time because of ease, that of availability and room. So when it completely closed off, we put a lot of electrical wiring in while we're creating the boxers and plumbing all that, and you're being prepared for that. and then tying all the loose ends and stuff like that, marking down all the names on the wires, what they're for, definitely helped a lot. But there you can see the floor completed underneath, and just a little short video clip here. We'll just do a quick pan around here. Just had a motorcycle go by my recording studio here right now, but also there was one that just cruised by on the video you heard. Like to been about pain time laugh here, lots of motorcycles out. Pretty close to a street here, and with the door wide open, we hear them roaring by a lot. I don't mind, I've had a lot of motorcycles myself over the years, a couple Harleys, and I appreciated getting out there in nice weather. So there we go, wrap up this section, and we'll transition right into, without going into another phase, we'll transition into the wiring phase, and I'll put a bunch of pictures up for that portion of the build. Alright, here we're going to dive deep into doing some electrical wiring, making sure that nothing goes up in flames, nothing burns out, smokes. Now, by trade, I'm a communications electronics technician, have a little company, but also do all kinds of different wiring. Cable pulling isn't necessarily part of the trade, but installing wires and cables kind of comes hand in hand with being a communications tech. So here we go, installing out the wiring out first. It looks kind of messy to get going, getting all the wires, so you'd want to make sure you label both ends, where they're coming from and what their need is and purpose. And if you cut off, just make sure you re-tag it with a fault pin or something. So at first, like you said, it looks kind of hodgepodge, but it does straighten up one by one, cable by cable, and some people probably would even be tidier by stapling lay straight lines of wires. I did a pretty fantastic job. I think it's all under the box and stuff, so it's all fairly tidy. Now you can see where some of the wires drop through that pipe conduit that I installed, which goes over to the opposite side of the trailer underneath inside the pipe. So it's out of the elements, and that comes up on the floor on the other side. Now, most of the circuitry inside for lighting and all that is DC, but there are some AC circuits. The bigger, looser bundle, there is AC wires, and the one that's in a tight ribbon there is the DC lines. So all the switching and lights and fans and stuff like that's all run off the 12-volt source. The power does come in on this particular side, on the driver's side of the trailer, is where the shore power and everything comes in. Typically, like on a trailer, the opposite side is where the inverter power is, and also has AC there, of course, and then your DC batteries and charging solar circuits will be in there that we'll dive into later. But this particular video, we're just going to get the panels installed for AC/DC. Now this panel is a typical RV panel I got online. I think I got it off of Amazon, if I'm not mistaken. And you can see the different sides of the panel for AC and for DC, and you can mark them all for what they're used for. And as I went along here, I just started installing some of the circuits, so it wouldn't all be needed to be done in the very end of it. So there it is, looking a little bit tidier, and not a big hodgepodge, and later on there will be a whole bunch of other gear inside these little compartments of boxes. Then open up to the outside for the backside for putting extra tools and stuff in and getting in and out. So there's a greened cable puller that I'll leave inside the pipe in case I need to pull something through at any given time, stuff like that, maybe for speaker audio or Wi-Fi or what have you. You can pull it through. This is just a little AC surface box on that side. Now this little yellow bud connectors, they work really well. It's the first time I've used them. Picked them up at Home Depot and played with them for a little bit, but they actually do work really well, take up a lot less room than their typical butt connectors. And so I just have a little circuit there inside the panel in case I need some power for future reasons, future use. It's kind of sitting there. And wired up to the top there with the TV, a different electronic equipment is going to go, and up to the AC fan in the ceiling as well. And most of the switches have been installed by this stage of it. And we're moving right along. There you see a whole bunch of AC outlets that go to the AC power, so that will go to AC, like the, I'm using AC fridge at this time, and coolers, etc., and maybe I'll switch over to DC later. And then some more hang over into the kitchen area as well, and up to the front of the unit. So what I did is left all the electronics or electrical circuits to the back of the trailer, and all the water containers and holders and inputs and all that kind of stuff to the front. So if you ever have a big water leak, you're not housing it right onto your electrical circuit. So keeping them separated is a wise thing to do. You want to put them into the same cavity and stuff, in case all of a sudden you got a burst of water spraying all over your electronic and electrical circuits and logic, etc. So keep them apart. So one's in the front, one's in the back. Might not always be able to separate it quite that much. So there we go. That's the few shots I put together of probably 100 or so pictures, and just kind of narrowed it down to a few shots here so we wouldn't be on it for an hour just looking at wiring. That's kind of repetitive. And we'll move into the next stage. Okay, guys, we can't give up now. We're moving right along. We're into a phase here where we're building a bottom deck. The place where the kitchen cabinets, the shower, and the bathroom toilet is going to sit on top of. So we're going to construct about a 12-inch riser in a particular area for the dark tank for the toilet. And it's going to be on the right-hand side, on the passenger side of the trailer. On the left side, or the driver's side, the deck is a little bit wider to hold a 32 by 32 shower. And into the left of the picture that you can currently see in this image will be the kitchen cabinet, and there'll be what we call a weight water tank underneath that. The tanks are going to be on top of the floor, of course, and there's going to be a silver insulated reflective lining with a heat pad underneath it. And again, to remind people that there'll be 3 or 4 inches of styrofoam insulation on the bottom of the floor, the bottom of the RV as well, so it's going to come well insulated. So up to this point, I haven't needed to use the heat 12-volt heater tanks to keep them from freezing, but it's also always been kept in warmer conditions. Sorry, my phone was just interrupting me there, so I thought I'd turn it off. But anyway, moving forward, to see the water tank underneath there would be on top of the kitchen. Now, we'll definitely want to be careful when you're mounting stuff that you're not running screws into that. So mark the plywood on the top and the top decks when you're putting stuff in. Not to put screws. Remind yourself that, hey, there's a water tank underneath there. Go drilling into it, or you have yourself a bit of a mess. And getting a plywood deck on top won't be too long, and you'll be seeing the kitchen cabinets and stuff being installed on top of this. So just kind of clipping along here and just opening up the conversation here as I'm seeing the images screen across here, because it's been a while since I took these shots again. I'm only using maybe 10% of all the pictures I took to shorten this down somewhat. But it's coming together, and the dark matter tank is also going to be a shutoff valve on the inside. So why you see that tape measure there is going to be a shutoff valve there, so I can shut off the dark tank so it doesn't go down into the drain valve down below the floor deck, and keep it up above. So in the wintertime, if we're using it, I can just open it up from the inside before it flows to the outside shutoff valve. So there will actually be 2 valves in line. Here we're starting to place the water tank, fresh water tank pump into the cavity where it's going to go, and it's going to be a few items be pumping, and accumulator and different things be mounted in there. We'll be seeing that shortly as we progress here. But moving right along, we're getting ready to cut the hole through the floor for the drain for the outsourcing for the dark water, and also the gray water that comes out of the sink. It has an extra quart on the outside for that as well. So here we have the freshwater line coming into the holding tank, and it's been plumbed in. All these tanks have sensors built into them, and you'll see that on the panel wall later, and they actually work really well if I had to use them. Up to this point in time, there you see the weight water tank. Lay it down on the floor, and got it upside down here. I'm just tagging on the 12-volt heater pad to the bottom of it, and then we'll just get that right, insert it back into its place, and I just drop it down. You can see that silver reflective insulator on the bottom also keeps it in there snug, so it's not moving around and doing any wear on tear on the plastic tank, because it's just kind of laying in there loose, but it's just definitely snug. And it'll definitely stay in place because of all the bracing that's around it. And we're into the next phase here. In this short section of phase 11, we'll be doing some more hookup on the tanks for the freshwater tank and the blackwater tank, getting the lines, the plumbing installed, also doing some more work on the water pump, getting some pipe clamped onto that, and for the freshwater support, also for the exit blackwater tank. It's coming along, getting all the wiring and plumbing and ports hooked up, some shut-off valves installed for when it's on running off the freshwater tank or on shore water, city water support. So there we go. Got this section of the water system hooked up, and after this I think we can start moving on into the upper deck kitchen, getting the kitchen cabinet installed. Would definitely be some more plumbing. Here we see the internal shutoff valve on the blackwater tank so that we can close the tank off from the top side, and then there's also another shutoff valve on the outside. So both those valves can be shut, or both can be open, or the outside one can be shut and the inside close, or vice versa. So there we go. That way, if we use it in the winter time, the blackwater tank doesn't come to the shut-off valve on the outside and freeze up. We can trap it to the inside. There's a valve for it, and there's a little opening in the cover spot where I can just remove a panel to have access to that shut-off valve. It's a neat little option to allow us to go winter camping and not having the sewer, the black water, to freeze up. The secondary pipe that you see is just a gray water exit. So it has a shut-off valve on the bottom as well, so it comes out of the shower in the sink area. Who would have believed? Here we are in phase 12, installing the wall and ceiling paneling, and getting ready for the lights in the ceiling as well, the wiring for them, and being prepped for it when we install the ceiling panel. So, at first, I thought this would be rather complicated, just doing this as an individual by myself, trying to hold the panel in place and trying to screw it down until I found these jacks, ceiling jacks. I guess jib rockers use these to hold jib rock ceiling panels up for different things. So I thought, well, I'll make good use of them to see if it'll work in this situation. So what I ended up doing is I'll put a jack on each side of the wall and get it close to the ceiling, and then once I walked in with the panel and ready to install it in place, I would lift the panel up and then just hold up the panel, because they're very light, hold it up with one hand, one arm, and I reach over and grab one of the jacks and push it underneath the panel and reach over the other side, because it was not far away, and pull it over as well, and just jerry-rig it until it was holding the panel in place, as you see in this picture, and then I could just move the panel into position and get it all screwed down at the same time. What I did is I installed a second layer of insulation into the ceiling, did it on the reverse with a reflective to the inside of the RV, but not sure if that really matters, but they say for some reason it does, ultramagnetically or whatever, I'm not sure, can't figure that one out. But anyway, the jacks worked really well, holding the panels up to screw them down, and got me through to getting all the panels up and getting all the wall paneling up. Took a little while, cut all the holes for all the switches and gizmos are in there, but here we are, and really getting close to closing up the RV and getting some cabinets installed, and getting much closer to putting in some of the final adderas like solar and cameras and different electronic gear. But we're getting very close to it, and oh yeah, we still something to look forward to is installing the shower and the washroom toilet in the front end of the RV. So that will be something that's coming up here in the next couple of phases. Here we are in 12. I'm sure there's probably 3 or 4 more to go, and we should be getting close to having this trailer on its wheels and ready to go. So I appreciate you all watching, and liking and subscribing to the channel helps me out. And you guys have an awesome day, and we'll see you in the next phase here. I'm just doing this project here over a matter of days here, trying to accumulate all these pictures together and create this running still picture video, putting it online. And thanks again, and we'll see you on the next phase. Well, hello there. It's amazing. We're moving right along here. We're already into phase 13, and the RV trailer build is coming right along. It's exciting to see it finally coming to more of a finished product than just an empty cargo shell trailer. So in this stage, we're definitely installing the cabinet bases, cabinet doors, getting all the hinges installed. And was kind of a unique one because it made it look more like a livable dwelling place than just a trailer or a cargo trailer. So it's definitely taking shape. We used it shortly after getting the cabinets installed and did a quick winter camping trip for a couple of nights, and enjoyed just spending some time with it, and getting right back at it a couple days later. So here we are. We've got the center tall cabinet installed, and worked with the main kitchen cabinet, and we found a unique slab of board from Home Depot with a live edge on it, and used that for our countertop. Nice thick, heavy-duty countertop butcher block kind of material. I think the wood comes out of Asia somewhere. Can't remember the name of it at this point in time, but did some extra sealing on it, make sure that the water wouldn't penetrate into the wood. And the leftover piece that we cut off the end, we use it on the little side table on the opposite side. Later on, you'll see that in the picture. So this stage of the build was kind of unique, just finishing up the last few cabinets that we didn't pre-build, not knowing exactly the space that would be left once the other cabinets and the trailer was being put together. So we just left that until the very last to build those cabinets on site that would fit into the remaining spot. Really like the color of the outcome of the stained wicker block countertop. Was quite a unique little feature for us inside the trailer. Looks a little glossy there, but once dried up and stuff, the glossy sheen kind of disappears, and it's more of a flat finish now. Underneath the kitchen top, we also have a AC. I think it's a 2-gallon tank, if I'm not mistaken. No, it's 4 gallons of 4-gallon water tank. Underneath, that's quite fast acting, and for the winter times, so it doesn't freeze up or whatever, it's just a couple of quick disconnects, and I just detach it, take it outside the trailer, dump the remaining water that's in the tank so it doesn't freeze over the winter months, and then the lines, I just blow them out. Actually, yeah, no, this year I didn't blow the motor, actually filled it up with Burvey antifreeze into the lines instead of blowing the lines out. A little side table piece came in really handy there at the door to put bunch of tools and equipment and utensils underneath the leads there, and just a little extra piece of countertop to cook on. It was a welcome addition to the room. Not a lot of free-floating room inside, but it's very practical, very useful, and very well pleased in the layout of it and the extra cabinet space overhead. There's actually quite a bit of room left. The one cabinet space that's over top of the bed that you see in the far back there has all the electronic gear inside of it. There's a cellular booster inside there, security device, recording device in there as well, and then the TV, you can turn it on when you're inside to see what's happening around your RV during the night. Hey, handy, the pull-down shades that got them from Amazon fit in really nice, and we just trimmed the windows off with a plastic type of material, really heavy, thick, finishing plastic material, so it won't rot from the moisture that known to come up in the windows of an RV with the moisture inside, when the sweats from cooking and just normal breathing. So instead of using wood, we used that finish, and it turned out really nice. Okay, so who doesn't enjoy having a shower when you're out camping? I mean, like a real shower. Yeah, 32 by 32 showers. I'm a pretty big guy, but I fit in there pretty good, and so glad, because that was one of the prerequisites building this trailer, that had to have a shower, and we managed to fit one in. Originally, we started off with a full fiberglass shower that I bought at Home Depot, and I just could not get it to fit in. There was just too tall, too cumbersome. It was difficult to hook up the plumbing underneath the floor with a full shower underneath and not having an underneath floor to work with. So I fidgeted around for quite a long time, eventually took it out, and ended up just getting a shower base instead, and installed a shower base, and it was much easier to work with, get the plumbing all hooked up, and then built a shower on top of the base. And so that was our next step. We ended up selling the other shower on the Facebook Marketplace, so it wasn't a total loss there, and it's always a place for the excess equipment stuff that you end up with. Stick it on Facebook, somebody else could use it, and the shower base was the answer for us. And then from there, we just built up and around it, and ended up getting some tile. I'll put a link to the tile down below, so if you have a look, if you're watching this, there'll be a link for the tile. It's a heavy-duty plastic kind of a tile. It's not ceramic for sure. Wouldn't have been very practical in a mobile trailer like this, bouncing around. And then same with the glue, I'll put a lake of the glue that we use to adhere it to the wall. First of all, we put a plywood backing on it, put 3-4 coats of paint onto the plywood backing, and then we ended up gluing the tile to that plywood backing, and we've used it quite a bit now, and it's quick waterproof. I did end up buying this tile from Amazon. I'll put a link into the description down below as well. For a lot of this gear, as I've kept mentioning in the video here, and just ended up tile by tile and cutting it to the appropriate sizes, the corner trim edges and stuff, and it ended up being quite a nice shower. It's not huge shower by any means, by 32s at 32 inch, nothing to sneeze at, and it works for me, and I'm not any little midget by any chance. So anyway, here we are, just putting on layer after layer until it gets done. I think back the length of time it took to to put the tile in. I did it over 2 days, but it wasn't full days, so it wasn't really all that bad. At first, it seemed like a bit of a daunting project, but actually moved along pretty good for ending up having quite a unique shower. And obviously, it'll have a little bit of flexibility, and the trailer is pretty solid, but there's always a little bit of flexibility when you're traveling down the highway. And I think with this type of shower instead of a tiler, it works out really well. And here we are, almost got it tiled up to the top and ready for moving on to the next section. Just a couple more posts coming up here of the completed project with the water taps and the shower head and everything installed. And we haven't had a leaking issue with it. It's worked great. Very well sealed. Well, here we are in phase 15. Now, this is part of the project that I really enjoyed, putting some power on board. So we put in a 3,000 watt Go Power inverter and 600 watts of solar power. So three panels, 200 watts each. I currently only have 2 of the panels up on the RV and have the additional one available for hookup as well. And so it's a complete kit that we put together and installed into the unit. Here's some images of the Go Power panels from the Go Power website. You can have a look at them. I'll put a link down below for that as well. And so we weave along here in these images. We'll see which one comes up. So there's the 3,000 watt inverter. It also has a switch inside so that it'll switch between shore power and solar battery. Solar panel power, automatically switch back and forth with the solar panel charge controller in the unit as well. The batteries that we used were 6-volt batteries, deep cycle 200 amp hour AGM batteries, and they have 2 of those in there. Future date, I may put another 2 batteries in there just to double up the power availability there. And in the next section, we'll just see a couple of displays that are built into the cabinets up above. For the 30 amp solar controller is one of them, and then the other one controls the 3,000 watt inverter that you can turn on and off, where it will automatically turn on when you plug in the shore power. So we have that up there. The next image of that panel will also show an AM/FM radio that we install as a marine type radio, put an antenna up on the roof, and put the wiring down the same portal as the solar power cables were run down into. And there's also a 2-way radio antenna on there and a Wi-Fi, or not a Wi-Fi, but a cellular booster antenna up on the roof, and we put them into the same porthole going down into Darby. You'll see shortly. Here's the cargo box that contains the 3,000 watt inverter and the battery bank, and the on-off switching for the whole unit. A little bit of room there for a jack that we have access to the outside door panel. Just a couple more shots of the battery and some of the wiring of the solar system. It's worked really well for us. I'm really happy and content with it. I've had it for, I guess, about 1.5 years now, almost 2 years, but it's been flawless. Here's a rooftop look with some of the antennas up on top. Cellular booster antenna. Also have a 2-way radio antenna on and a music radio antenna to the solar panels up on top of the roof. And the next couple of images are going to be of the cable port. So it's a basically a waterproof box that I got from Home Depot and sealed it to the roof, and the cap is removable, so if we need to get at the wiring, it's very easily accessible. This has 4 plastic swivel to hold the top plate in place to waterproof it, and all those connectors are all waterproof as well. So that was just a nice little feature to be able to have quick access to for future wiring, for future cables and tender replacements and different things. So there's, in brief, just a quick synopsis of doing the solar install. There's a shot of it in the completed mode. All right, here we are in the closing chapter, the closing phase 16, and looks like we'll be going over 2 minutes of the 60 minutes that I first planned on doing, but got it pretty tight down to the budget there and time-wise, and just a couple quick images here of some of the features inside the RV, some panels and controls for black water, heater tanks, things like that. They're inside the RV. Also, we've got a little bit of a close-up here. This is the sensors for the water tank levels. They all have monitors on them, so you can see what when they get close to full. Keep an eye on them. And moving right along here, we have the tank here control. One of them is not hooked up at this time, but the fresh and wastewater tank are both hooked up with heaters on there. I haven't had to use them yet, but they're available in case we get into some frigid weather and want to keep it warm. Here's the awning control switch. There's a secondary switch to turn off the power to that switch so it doesn't get accidentally bumped and move the awning. So that's controlling the awning in and out motion. Fully DC electric. And then here's the controller panel module that displays battery power consumption, availability of battery life left, and how long to restore energy through solar. On these displays here is the 3000 watt inverter controller, the solar control panel, 30 amp controller, and then also the AM/FM music radio is in there. It has speakers inside and outside of the RV. Here we have the installation of the awning, but it's not a lot of process going on here, but just images of it in the process. Had my friend Matt helping me with this. Is the most complicated part of getting it up there and holding it and fashioning it onto the side of the RV, so it's very much appreciated to get that help at that time. So here's just a couple shots of the awning installation. It's fully controlled by switching. It's very well secured onto the side of the RV into the frame members of the wall there. Made sure that there's a good backing in behind it, so it's not going to rip off easily. And here, Matthew's in the back there, just getting ready for some more work there, and some wires are dangling there, but it's just about in the finish-up stages of a full day of installing this awning. Shouldn't say a full day, but probably half a day anyway. And there we are. It's a very nice feature. Has automatic stops on the way out and also on the way back in, so that when you hold a button, it'll gets to the end and stops. And then we also installed 2 propane tanks as a base for it, and we have 2 30-pound propane bottle tanks that are hooked up with plumbing to the inside of the RV that's capped off of it. We can hook up a little gas burner, gas stove, or whatever for cooking. So that's a nice little feature that was added on in the final stages of doing RV. Also installed a bumper jack, automatic leveling and lowering and raising jack on there on a 12 volts, so that was a little light on it as well, so that was a nice add-on instead of hand cranking it up and down. And we ended up installing some off-road heavy-duty 12-ply tires and chrome alloy rims that we picked up from a local tire supply store, and really pleased with that because we do want to go up some rough terrain roads and needed the extra heavy-duty ply tires. Our truck also has off-road heavy-duty tires on it as well, so we wanted to compare, get the trailer kind of equal to the tire load that the truck has for wear and tear. And it's a nice little shiny addition to the RV and the finish-up stages. And just a final shot of the rim and tires with the chrome instead of the standard cargo trailer rims and tires, which are generally like a 3 or 4 ply highway tire. So these are really an early ply tire. And then we installed our Soaring Eagle logo on there and a couple more logos on the sides and on the back. And this was going to conclude this video. I don't want to extend it any longer, so thanks for watching, and stay tuned and give us a like and subscribe, and we appreciate your support. Thanks, and have a great day.